Yes, a big St. Patrick's Day. Good morning from Studio G here in the heart of America. Glad to have you on board for the Steve Gruber Show as we light another explosive hour here of the program. As I'm fighting for you in this country from the foxhole of freedom, you can also find me on Twitter, X, Truth, Rumble, and so many other places. TikTok, too, by the way. Love to see you there. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, Americans are no longer going to pay for anti-American propaganda. In fact, Kari Lake has been put in charge of tearing down Voice of America. That had become an anti-American messaging service. It's gone. Number two, members of Tren, Aragua and MS-13 now in prison in El Salvador after being deported from the United States despite protests from left-wing groups. And I, for one, say, good riddance. Thanks for stopping in. And number three, what is it the Democrats stand for in 2025? That's just a great example right there. What is it the Democrats stand for in 2025? A serious question. And if they don't figure it out soon, they may not have a party left by the midterms of 2026. Democrats have seen their approval numbers plummet to the lowest levels ever in CNN polling. In fact, only 27% of those asked approve of the Democrat Party. It's by far the worst they've ever done. And the numbers have been on the skids for the last 4 years. And with the voices like Jasmine Crockett leading the charge, there's no end in sight. No end in sight. They could head for zero very soon. Listen to this.
You're close with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York. Some of your fellow House Democrats say, and not just progressives, by the way, we've heard that moderates have said this too, that they're ready to support her to challenge Chuck Schumer in a Democratic primary. Would you get behind that?
That's 4 years from now. If you were asking me at least in 2 years, then I would have an absolute answer. But I can tell you that there are a lot of people that are watching his leadership in this moment. This is the moment. We don't even know what elections will look like in 4 years, if we will have elections. And so I definitely think that younger, fresher leadership may be something that many of us, not just depending on what part of the spectrum you're on, but many Americans may be looking for, especially in the state of New York.
Oh,
how to take on the Republicans is a big topic of this.
Enough of you. Doesn't even know there are going to be elections in 4 years. Now, the upheaval of the Democrat Party is eating away at everything. And Chuck Schumer, as you heard, could soon be pushed out. Jasmine Crockett cannot say she supports him at all, obviously. And yet the Democrats remain totally tone deaf to American voters. About the only thing uniting any portion of the left is a hatred of Donald Trump. That's it. But with his numbers climbing, it's another issue for the Democrats to deal with, and one they are having a hard time fighting against. President Trump's critics continue to try to push the fallacy of so-called Trump buyer's remorse. The idea that the Americans who voted for Trump are disappointed what his administration is doing and accomplishing. It's a fallacy. It's a flat-out lie, and any honest person knows that. In fact, here's Bill Maher illustrating my point perfectly. Listen.
And I'm just wondering what you think now. We're approaching 2 months in. I mean, you must have a feeling in your gut. Look me in the eye and tell me you don't. That this is really going badly, and I shouldn't have thrown my lot in with this team.
Oh, no, I feel the opposite.
All right. Tell me why.
I'm so sorry, Bill.
No.
By the way, she came out and said not only is she supporting Donald Trump, she's a former leftist, right? Embarrassing for Bill. Good thing someone's calling him out on his bald-faced lies and constant spinning. She went on to give a pretty good dissertation of why she supports Trump. Ending wars, better economy, looking out for American workers, the list goes on. The reality is that, and she used to be a Democrat, the reality is this. Democrats are the ones with a 27% approval rating. They have no leader, obviously, and with Chuck Schumer folding on the latest continuing resolution, the party is coming apart at the seams. Just listen to Hakeem Jeffries weigh in. Here he is.
Is it time for new leadership in the Senate?
Next question.
Have you lost confidence in him, the fact that you guys see this so differently?
Next question.
Mr. Leader, why were you afraid to say anything about Schumer when you were asked?
No, not characterize.
No, my question was, why were you afraid to say anything?
Not characterize my remarks. I'm not afraid about anything. Anything.
You met what?
He is afraid, obviously. And while Jeffries hides behind non-answers and deflection, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is trying to light a fire under her party with histrionics and drama and performative art. Here she is.
I think there is a deep sense of outrage and betrayal. There are members of Congress who have won Trump-held districts in some of the most difficult territory in the United States, who walked the plank and took innumerable risks in order to defend the American people, in order to defend Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, just to see Senate Democrats even consider acquiescing to Elon Musk. I think it is a huge slap in the face. We cannot afford to be in an every person for themselves kind of moment. We need to work together and as a team in order to usher our country through this very dark time.
Well, the Democrat Party is scrambling to find unity and to distract Americans from their dysfunction by pretending President Trump isn't winning on all fronts, which he appears to be doing exactly that. Republican Congresswoman Lisa McClain of Michigan put CNN on blast for exactly that. Listen to this.
All you need to do is turn on the TV. Look at your show. It's nothing but fear-mongering. That's all the Democrats do. What's inflation doing? What's inflation? Up or down? Oh, it's down. What's the prices of eggs? Oh, they're down. What's the prices of mortgage? Oh, it's down, right? But we don't cover the positive things. We only cover the negative things to get everyone worked up.
And to get everyone worked up. Let's take a look at other wins under President Trump lately, shall we? I mean, the list is long. The border is becoming more and more secure by the minute. In fact, it is the most secure it's ever been, ever, since they've kept records. Got-away numbers down to almost nothing as well, and deportation numbers are up. I'm sure you saw the flights to El Salvador. And Homeland Security is rolling out this genius idea. Listen to this from J.D. Vance.
Self-deportation. I think Kristi Noem deserves a lot of credit for this and Tom Homan, because that CBP-1 app, do you remember that? It actually facilitated illegal entry under the Biden administration. We're repurposing it to facilitate self-deportation. So what we're going to encourage a lot of people to do is, we don't have to come and knock on your door and send you home. We're going to do that, of course. But before that happens, why don't you get on a plane and go home yourself? So it's an all-of-the-above approach. We're going to use everything that we can. But Laura, I think those deportation numbers are going to come up. You've already started to see some real progress. We're going to make more.
Yep, real progress. We're going to see more. Americans turned out in November in large part because of the border. It's one of the driving issues of the day. They're getting exactly what they voted for. They don't have buyer's remorse because they see gangbangers ending up on planes and getting shipped to El Salvador. The border crisis was so bad that even the mainstream media had to start focusing on it, and now some of those pundits are actually starting to see the light. We're going to get to that after the break, but I want to tell you this. As I look at some of the figures on inflation they mentioned, I just pulled up gas prices from AAA today. 307 is the national average. In Michigan, by the way, I saw it under $3 over the weekend. Under $3 a gallon. Pretty remarkable. By the way, a week ago it was 309, so it's down 2 cents. A month ago it was 316, so it's down a dime. And a year ago it was 346, so it's down 40 cents from a year ago. Keeps getting better and better. Michigan's average is exactly $3, but really it's below $3. Most places you look now. I'll take a break and be back. Welcome to it on a Monday. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Yeah, the border crisis was so bad that even the mainstream media had to start focusing on it. And now some of those folks, those pundits, are actually starting to see the light. Here's Tom Homan, practically red-pilling Stephen A. Smith all by himself. Listen to this.
How do you answer these questions? For those that don't know, how do you answer questions like that, like I just posed to you, in terms of 4,000 children being separated from their parents?
Absolutely. So where did zero tolerance come from? Zero tolerance came from this. 31% of women that make their journey get raped by the criminal cartels. Children were dying on that border every day. Dying. Either drowning in a river, dying making that journey. Children were sexually assaulted, and children were dying in the desert. You know, they made that journey, and a lot of women and children not only died, many were sexually assaulted. So we said, look, how can we save lives? How can we stop the sexual assault of children? So we said, look, let's prosecute them, because it's a crime to enter this country illegally. So if we prosecute them and put them in jail, maybe the numbers go down, maybe less will come. And it worked. Zero tolerance, that the numbers of families putting themselves in harm's way, putting themselves in the hands of criminal cartels dropped significantly. It's an unfortunate and saddest part of law enforcement. Families get separated when the parents get arrested. So we do let the families 1,000 times a day in this country with Americans, but they want a different set of rules for illegal aliens. Once they did.
That's an incredibly compelling answer that you just gave. I can't refute it. No one should, as far as I'm concerned, sir.
Yeah. No one should refute it as far as he's concerned, Stephen A. Smith. Amazing. Trump obviously knew what he was doing when he was tapping Tom Homan as the border czar. Meanwhile, over at the FBI, justice is actually being prioritized again. Believe it or not, departments like ICE and the FBI are now enforcing the law, making our country safe again, since, as I already mentioned, the continuing resolution was passed in Congress despite Democrats threatening to shut down the government. The funding bill also included full coverage for veterans pay, a pay raise for junior enlisted troops, and help for our recruiting numbers to rise again, funding for air traffic controllers, those who won't be hired just on the basis of DEI, and compensation for the firefighters who continue to put their lives on the line every day fighting wildfires in places like Los Angeles. Unlike President Biden, I should say, President Trump continues to provide help in the face of natural disasters, even in areas that won't vote for him. Not now, not ever. And unlike the previous administration, Trump continues to make the United States an intimidating force to be reckoned with. U.S. Central Command forces have taken out the ISIS chief of global operations, essentially the second in command. That's footage right there of the strike you're watching for those of you on the stream. And true to nature, President Trump called it for what it was. Listen to this.
A brutal killer, one who has caused so much hardship and death, has violently been eliminated. He will never again harm another innocent man, woman, or child. He died like a dog. He died like a coward. The world is now a much safer place. He died like a dog. He died like a coward. He was whimpering, screaming, and crying. And frankly, I think it's something that should be brought out so that his followers and all of these young kids that want to leave various countries, including the United States, they should see how he died. He didn't die a hero. He died a coward, crying, whimpering, screaming, and bringing 3 kids with him to die.
That's what a commander-in-chief sounds like. Show the world what he died like. All of you that want to worship and praise such people, show the world what he died like. The ultra-precise airstrike in Iraq took out the ISIS chief, another ISIS operative, both bodies recovered in the aftermath, in possession of multiple weapons and wearing unexploded suicide vests. You know, the list just goes on. Who knows how many lives that airstrike just saved? It continues. CENTCOM forces also currently busy targeting Houthi rebels in Yemen. You probably knew this. For far too long, these terrorists have been threatening the safety of U.S. ships, aircraft, and drones in areas like the Red Sea. Joe Biden sure didn't scare them off. As a result, they've cost us and the rest of the world billions in damages. Donald Trump took to social media warning the terrorists that their time is up, and they know he means business after a strike like the one that was just carried out in Iraq. Speaking of national security, President Trump still eyeing the acquisition of Greenland as well to secure this country, something that many of his critics have scoffed at. But guess who didn't scoff? The Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, the former Prime Minister of the Netherlands. In a meeting with President Trump, who said he agreed with the president that Greenland is critically important not only to American security, but security of all Western nations. The America First agenda is nonstop. President Trump just never stops. It's almost tiring to watch. The winds keep piling up, and he's not sitting back on a beach in Delaware deciding to just stop while he's ahead. No, he's continuing to fight for this country. To say that that's refreshing is an understatement. So no, there's no buyer's remorse for me. There's no buyer's remorse for millions of other Trump voters who knew exactly what they were voting for. And this is exactly what has shown up. A president, a leader, an American first leader. The Democrats and the media can continue to try to spin and spin until they're dizzy in the head, trying to distract you from their own dysfunction. But me, I'm going to continue to trust President Trump and his America First agenda that's working quite clearly for all of us. Quite clearly for all of us. This part of the program brought to you by 1775 Coffee. Look, people ask me, Gruber, what do you drink every day? 1775 Coffee. It's got the spirit of Lexington and Concord. You see, some coffee's weak. I can't afford that in the morning. Some coffee is corporate nonsense. I don't care about that. There's 1775 Coffee. Bold, high quality, built for those who refuse to compromise, hand-picked in high-altitude Bolivian forests. Single origin beans, roasted to perfection. No toxins, no shortcuts. It's just damn good coffee. And if you want to feel this way, well, go over to 1775coffee.com. Use the code Gruber. You'll save 10% and start your morning just like I do, fired up with great coffee that stands for something. Oh, by the way, every dollar you spend is an entry to win a Cybertruck and $30,000 in cash. 1775 Coffee, bold flavor, exceptional quality, no BS, much like myself. Good to see you this morning. I'll be right back.